All right, I'm back with another real estate lunchbox. What's up? What's going on? What's going on? We appreciate you, everybody that runs through, checks in, hollers, comments, all love. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. My name's Leon. It's Real Estate Lunchbox, located in Atlanta, Georgia. Real estate agent, broker, investor, hard money lender, just an all around cool guy. But yeah, man. So I got this pro. I did the lineup today. I was a little bit late getting in, but we got the lineup done. I do my own curating my own self. So I was able to get a couple things done. Got the lineup done. Let me get a little bit closer. Sometimes I've been doing these videos, and when I do it on a replay, I get a couple statements asking, "Hey, Leon, can the video's too low?" So I want to make sure the video's turned up. We don't have low video volume. I'm chilling here looking out the window. Beautiful, peaceful neighborhood. I enjoy where I live. And I enjoy just making this type of content, putting this type of stuff out, you know? Yep. So I got another channel. This channel's growing. We're about to hit 1,000 subscribers. I think right now we're at 600. And I appreciate every single person that comes through this, watches it in replay. If you haven't subscribed or you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like the content, and I'm gonna tell you, goodness sake, follow your boy, because we got another channel rolling out. It's gonna be the real Leon Duncan, because there's a lot of stuff that I really love talking about, but I can't do it right here. I just can't. It's just the way it is. This platform, the way I did this was politics, real estate, news, pop culture. You get a little bit of me, but there's other things that I want to dig down deeper into. I always want to talk about all the stuff in Atlanta. Don't forget that. 682 subscribers. So within the last 30 days, I think we're born on 500 subscribers. Man, and you know what? I'm fortunate. I'm happy. I appreciate you guys taking the time. I like to just cover issues. I like to have fun when I cover those issues. I like to talk about stuff, talk smack about stuff. I've done the real estate thing, and I don't have any programs to sell you. I don't have any networking events to sell you. I just don't. I don't have any one-on-one coachings to sell you, even though I can sell it to you. And I thought about doing that, but damn, I mean, shoot. If I took the time to answer everybody's question on a one-on-one, I wouldn't be doing, man, it wouldn't be anything less than, no lie to you, it wouldn't be nothing less than $100, $150 an hour just to sit down and talk about whatever your real estate problem is. Because I've purchased property, I've flipped property, I've worked for buyers, I've worked for sellers, I've wholesale deals, done creative finances and deals, bought my very first property back in 2015, and since then, I've sold a lot of that stuff. I don't have any real estate right now outside of the stuff that I live in. And I have one other property that I have in partnership, but not solely owned by myself. But you know what? With these resets that's taking place, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, there's a lot of resets that's starting to happen with this real estate. Redfin actually reported a bunch of resets coming down the line. So 2026, they expect it to be the market of reset. Atlanta's market's been pretty Atlanta-y, Atlanta-like, doing Atlanta stuff. Oh, boy. Straight up doing Atlanta stuff. That's Atlanta. We've got areas and pockets that have grown and pockets that have never grown. Yeah. But, that have been remained steady. And then we got ones that are blowing up and ones that are just dwindling away. Yeah. But that's Atlanta's market. But it's more than just buying in Atlanta. I'm telling you, I always say the reason I made it Real Estate Lunchbox is there is a culture in Atlanta, just like there's a culture where you live right now. If you don't live in Georgia, if you live in Michigan, if you live in Cali, if you live in New York, every state has its culture, and real estate is always local to that area, So pretty much I've been doing this dolo, my own little brokerage. One thing we will have is our brokerage coming out My brokerage is out already, but for people in Atlanta that actually want to get some service done, we'll be able to give them a flat fee service. They can buy it. Buy the flat fee service, get the property listed. Because sellers, y'all gonna need it, bruh. If you selling a house or somebody is selling a house, they're going to need every last penny right now. Because single family homes are just dropping in value. That's just the way it is right now. Just the way it is. But I'll talk a little bit more about that. But your boy's been doing it dolo for a while, man. Been doing it dolo by myself. And I was chilling and I was sitting back and I saw this video by Anton Davis. Anton is the man. I tell you, I like Anton. I learned a lot from Anton. Anton is a beast when it comes to this. Beast when it comes to it. And so he did this. This is his take, which we all should have a take. We should have an epistle. Because I've been doing this in Atlanta and I've been by guys that just like hanging out with other guys and they just got guy clubs. And I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I ain't got no guy club. I don't have a book club, a bike club. I used to have a martial arts dojo that I was a part of, but I haven't joined any dojos recently. But I've been in jujitsu dojos because I did jujitsu, taekwondo, karate, and I love those dojos. But it's not like you go and you hang around with everybody all day. It's like you train. You train, what's up, man? You train, But Anton was doing this video, man, and I got to talk about this video before I even get down and even talk about anything real estate related today. Men that like to be by themselves are better in relationships. I do believe that 100%. I'm going to tell you why.
I'll be by myself. Me, my security, I move as a solo artist. I was seeing some guys in San Juan and it looked like they was in groups. So usually, you'll see a group of guys or you'll see a group of women or you'll see a couple, right? Very rarely do you see people that travel alone. I think that people that travel alone has the best time. Men specifically, ladies, always stay in pairs. It's not safe for you to be by yourself. Ladies, don't always stay in pairs. I'm going to Biloxi too. Never be by yourself. But guys that travel alone, I think that those are the guys that are the most valuable because they know how to move. They understand culture. They're not interdependent on people for their happiness. They know how to move by themselves. They not broken. They've discovered themselves. Ladies, if you can find a man that knows how to travel by himself and don't need a group, he don't have to go with a whole bunch of guys. He can go with women, but it doesn't necessarily mean he needs a woman to be with him. If you can find a guy, if you can find a guy that knows how to move by himself, that's comfortable being by himself in his own space, he don't always have to have somebody in order to make himself feel good. That is going to be the best type of guy.
He's on point. In Atlanta, I see a lot of these. I know some of you guys are frat guys, y'all. Y'all in frat fraternities, and nothing against you. You got your frat. And when I go to smoke cigars, I see the frat boys there, the old frat guys, always cracking on the waitresses and talking to them and knowing that they married, they got their ring on. This is the kind of conversation I'm going to take over to the real Leon Duncan because I know this is more, we got a little, y'all think this is business. This is really mindset building and building an income in real estate building from a different perspective, holistic. But I see them. I see you guys. And they sit down and they always got their boys around them. They always got their... I think since I learned martial arts and I became a black belt at such a young age, 21, I think it was 20. Some people don't get their black belt till their 30s and a lot older. I was 21, 20, got my first black belt. The thing about martial arts is what brought me to it is it really is a loner type of sport. Because even though you train at a dojo with other men and other women, and your sensei or your teacher, when you get out in the street, you're by yourself. When you're dealing with challenges, you're by yourself. It is nothing but you and the Holy Ghost. And I say it, men who tend to always have to be around other men or they need their boy, or they got to have their crew, or they got to call homie to tell them what happened with his wife or what happened with her. Listen, dude, you're not a real man. You're not really living your full manliness because you always got, I get, you got a friend, like one dude, like my brother. I hang around. That's my brother, you know? But damn, when you go for cigars, you gotta go with people. When you travel, you go anywhere, you gotta go with other guys. It seems like when you go to the strip club or wherever you go that you got a party, you got to go with other guys. You go to the club, you got to go with other guys. Listen, real lions don't need to run with other lions to feel like lions. If anything, I like my herd, my women, and I don't need other men to sit down and help me protect them or to validate my manliness. I'm a dude because I know I'm a guy. Like, I know how I think like a man. I move like a man. I don't have those insecurities, those inferiorities, those issues that you guys be dealing with. Because that's an inferiority, insecurity issue. You gotta have a guy with you. Your boy, you gotta meet him. Every time I had a dude around me that threw names about how many other guys he knew or had in his circle, or that he was frat, or that he was cool with, bro, always turned out to be the lamest ones. Always turned out to be the lamest of the lame. Just lame. Because they felt like throwing out the names validated them. They couldn't be in four walls by themselves in silence. It's almost like the insecurity, the inferiority, the fear, all that tends to rush up on you all of a sudden. And then you're sitting back and you're wondering about things and thinking about things that you wouldn't necessarily think about if you're around the other people. And you get scared of those thoughts. And they make you run. And they make you hide. But it's the lame. Because you're always influenced by these people and what they have to say, how they feel about something, what they're doing. And then you say, I should be doing that too. He thinks about that. I think about that too. He 100% right. After 19 years of marriage, going on 20 years, I learned it the hard way in some cases. Because when I opened myself up, I saw the beast and I said, why did I ever do this? I wasn't built to do it. I don't want to pledge your frat. I'm done. I'm cool. I'm stopping right here. We good. Y'all like, he stopped in the process. No, I didn't stop in the process. I just stopped right there in that place. Because I realized how much of a dude I am, how much of an individual I am, how much of a true masculine male I am. I don't need this to validate my identity, nor do I want it. And in various places, because of what you're trying to subject me to, hell no, I don't need it.
Congratulations. Well done.
Let's go on.
It's going to be the best relationship ever. It's going to take some time to get used to them, though. A lot of guys, and there's nothing wrong with guys traveling in groups. And let's be clear, because I know a lot of y'all think that just because I big up one type of person or a person with one type of personality, that somehow means that I'm dissing somebody else. No. It doesn't mean that. I'm just telling you, guys that know how to move by themselves, they are the best type of people to be in a relationship with. They usually know how to get money. They usually know how to network. They usually know how to be by themselves. They usually know how to love better. They figured out life. You know what I'm saying?
Because when you by yourself, your thoughts, you're left to your own thoughts. And guys don't get it. You're left to your own thoughts, your own way of thinking. And when you're left to your own thoughts, you start to realize the thoughts that are negative and the things that you need to change. If you're really someone that takes the time to have a level of introspection and you have a relationship with God at the same time. Do you notice Jesus always went away and left the apostles and was by himself? Even when he had his 12, do you know before he had his 12 or 3 years of ministry, he was 30 years by himself. Mom, dad, and probably his siblings that were around him. Do you mention anything about his friends or any? Yeah, it's like a lot we don't know. I got it. But the 3 years, do you notice up to 30? And every time he had time, every time he was even with them and it became over, he went by himself. He left.
Figured out what happiness looks like on their own. And people that have figured out how to be happy by themselves are way better to be around because they don't have to be doing it. Like, I'll give you an example. I don't have, like, a lot of people have a misconception of me. They think that just because I might have resources that I always have to stay at the best hotel. No, I choose to stay at the best hotel if it's convenient. But I can do anything. I'm like, it's almost like being a Renaissance man. I don't have to have a Mercedes. You know what I'm saying? Like, lately I've been driving my Challenger. I like all types of stuff. I can go to the high-end restaurant or I like to hit the local Coney Island. I can go and stay at, the Bellagio or the Vidara or the Wynn Hotel. But at the same time, if I go to certain cities, I can hit the Residence Inn. No problem.
Yep. And that's that. I think that is not, I know. If you are a young man and you're aspiring to be better than your father, raise a family, find the right girl, you need time by yourself. You do. You need time by yourself. I had, before meeting my wife, 5 years of celibacy and abstinence. I would say abstinence. And it was 5 years. And I'll talk more about that. Go to The Real Leon Duncan on YouTube and like and subscribe, because I'm going to take a lot of that conversation over there, because at the end of the day, and I'm going to do this, we'll live stream about 2 to 3 times out the week. But at the end of the day, if these young men don't even know the importance, or they feel because they're by themselves, that makes them less important or valid, then boy, you set them up for failure. You raise weak, very weak men. 19 years married, I'm telling you, you raise weak, very weak men. All right. I'm going to go to the next one. I got to keep this thing. This is funny. How a Nigerian couple turns around and kidnaps, detains ICE who came to detain them. That's crazy.
A man and woman are in custody today for allegedly trapping a federal agent in a car and dropping that agent off at the New Hope Police Department. Oluwadamalola Bamigboye and Rakaya Frazier are both facing a count of assaulting a Department of Homeland Security investigations agent. According to court documents, agents were searching for Bamigboye because he had overstayed a student visa. When he was approached by agents, he allegedly got into the back of a Jeep and told Frazier to drive. One of the agents on scene got into the front seat to try.
See, so you guys over here advocating for, like, this is some ICE raid issue that we should be going against ICE, throwing rocks and pebbles and attacking federal officers when they're coming to get people like him who overstays on his student visa. And he never intended to go to school. I bet that guy never been to school probably for the last 2, 3 years, 4 years. He came on a student visa, but he never decided to learn or go to school. And he didn't decide to go to any institution. He never decided to. It was never about going to school with him. It was always, and has always been, I bet, about just making it to America.
And stop them from taking off, according to the charges. Bamigboye allegedly called police from the Jeep explaining what happened and that they were bringing the agent to the Plymouth Police Department. But they ended up going to the New Hope Police Department instead. Bamigboye was arrested after running into a Hy-Vee near the New Hope Police Department. Frazier was arrested as well. Both are in custody at the Sherburne County Jail.
US-based Nigeria
How do you detain ICE officers that come to detain you?
Congratulations, well done.
What kind of crazy nonsense is that? Oh no. My man, I tell you now, you cannot be walking around doing that. This is America. This is not Nigeria, my man.
couple
Yaka.
got arrested for allegedly kidnapping ICE agents in Minnesota. They overstayed their visa, so they got arrested because they tried to kidnap some ICE agents. Allegedly.
Allegedly. You man, allegedly. Look at it. Look. US based Nigerian couple arrest. And I know I'm going to have a lot of slack from this. Yes, I got Nigerians in my family, but y'all crazy. Yo, this is bananas. Look at him. Does he look like a student that goes to any type of university? Does she look, how they together and he a student that go to a university? He just bumped into her here.
Nigerians, why are you? Oh my God. Oh my God. We're always on the news. We're always on the news for bad stuff. Why? Nigerians kidnapping someone in America. It is well. May God help you all. US
Kidnapping someone in America. Oh, God help you. God help y'all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know what they was thinking about. Boy. Just know that you guys are not going to be back to America anytime soon. Oh, no. Your American days, your potential possibility of even earning any money in this economy has gone out of the door. You are no longer a value, what Trump said, a value play for the United States of America. We do not need you. Go back where you came from, you man. Go back. Go back, please. Go back. Man, I just thought I would just share this with y'all because it's not even relevant to anything, but I saw it. I was like, damn, this is crazy. But it does speak to our very lax U.S. policies because, like I said, that guy did not, in no way, shape, or form, he does not resemble a student or look like. He looks too old to be a student. He looks too old to be a student. Very much too old to be a student. All right, let's roll over to this. Shoot, man. You know what? I was going to cover these redfin numbers. I'm not going to do that. Not right quick. I'm going to head over to these data centers, man. We're going to talk about these data centers because everybody, all of you guys have, if you have property, if you have land, if you're looking at buying land, if you own a home and they want to build a data center near you, this is what you probably need to pay very close attention to this because this is starting to affect people. I've seen people talk about their water, talk about the noise at night, the lights that shine. One lady was actually talking about on a YouTube video how the lights from the data center shines into her house, and it's almost like they got to sell the place because you can't. It's no rest. It's no peace. So when I look at this, and I'm a lover of AI. I'm a lover of technology. I love tech, man. I love it. I don't have anything negative against tech people doing tech things, building tech businesses. I'm talking to you right now on YouTube. This is tech. But we gotta do something about building these data centers so close to neighborhoods, so close to schools, so close to where everyone lives. And I know that, to me, that's a common sense thing. I don't know why people will actually not see this as a common sense issue. But we're dealing with money. We're dealing with power. Okay. And people, this is the clear example of the stretching between the have and the have-nots. Okay. So that's why I say, man, this is not just, I don't just do these to like tell you what's going on. But if you think about real estate, if you're thinking about business, lending, anything like that, building a second stream, going to 2026, using AI to stream your real estate, you got to do all those things and stop and get off the floor and stop procrastinating. Whether you're going to buy property, whether you're going to turn around and sell some property and move to another country, just do it, and whatever you're going to do it. Because in 2026, as AI advances, we're going to see a lot more of these data facilities and centers pushing into communities.
Yo, this is about to be our new reality, bro. When all these data centers get to busing and all of them are going at the same time, bro, that's what them data centers is finna be doing to our fucking lungs, bro, our air and shit. You see all that smoke, bro? This is what's happening in Boxtown, Memphis, you feel me? Suffocating niggas and shit, bro. You didn't take the time to learn about what was going on in Boxtown, Memphis, and how those people are literally being suffocated by tech companies and what was built in their city.
And this is not just Memphis. This is happening across the board, so many different places. Now, why do we need these data centers? Let's break it down.
These highly secure, often unmarked buildings store data for some of the world's biggest tech companies. They're the physical infrastructure that enable us to zoom into class, watch a TikTok, bank online, or ask ChatGPT a question. And in the next 5 years, consumers and businesses are expected to generate twice as much data as they did in the last 10. As users and companies demand more and more processing power and storage to fuel an ever more complex internet, existing data centers here are becoming overwhelmed, causing the industry to go into a frenzy to try to accommodate the explosive demand. Across the country, companies like Amazon, Nvidia, and Google are quietly infiltrating communities to build out massive compounds filled with the next generation of supercomputers. And it's all to make these things do something. Fundamentally, data centers store data, process data, and move data. So storage. To store this 3D model of my nut, I could put it on this hard drive, or I could upload it to the cloud, which is basically just a hard drive in a data center somewhere with some more redundancy or backups in case one breaks. As for processing data, everything that happens on the internet that's not on your computer is being done in a data center. So if you search nuts on Google, a computer in a data center looks through billions of nut websites and pictures of nuts, tries to figure out which ones you want to see, and organizes them for you to find your favorite nuts.
That's not my nut.
Which is the last major thing data centers do. When all the processing is done, or you request a photo of a cashew, or you're on a FaceTime call with an almond, data centers with internet service providers disperse that information.
Now, keep in mind that Amazon and some of these other companies that we use, they've already started building. I mean, they're well into that data center, cloud storage centers. I think I learned this when I was doing a AWS course on how Amazon is so split throughout different countries throughout the world. And they're doing this not just in the US, they're doing this in other places too. So this is not just limited to Amazon in the United States or to any of these data providers just in the US. But it's starting to get more and more personal, I feel, when we're dealing with communities and homes that are being built, and they're being built right around these data centers, right around them, you know? And worse than that, people are selling their land to these data centers. And some of them are making great money in selling their land. I guess they're ditching it and saying, I'm done with the community, I'm leaving. But we got to think about everyone that's staying there. So I'm in Atlanta, of course. I'm down here outside of the city. I've driven through the city and I've seen data centers right smack in the middle of Southwest Atlanta, which was very curious to me, especially since I know that there's that depending on the data center, there's a water filtration system that's necessary in order to run it properly. And there was a lot of confusion about the purity of the water coming out of these data centers and the effect it would have on the environment. But I think we're at a place right now where, since the market is so low You've got deficits in places like Chicago. You see their tax deficit, their inner city taxes. They got to raise the taxes on people that shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to raise the taxes on because they piss poor budgeting. See who else is right here. We're gonna pause this. Somebody else might be here. Let's see. This is the thing about doing it at home. When you got a Kane and you got some dogs, man, this is what happens when you got dogs. They go off. Where was I at? Oh, yeah, these data centers, man. When you have these data centers and the purity of how, when we're dealing right now, we're dealing in a space right now where there's such a need for capital by municipalities, whether you're talking about Baltimore, whether you're talking about Chicago, and it's going down to some local municipalities, towns, and communities and counties also. In the South, not just in up north or in the Midwest. When things like that happen, I feel like our city officials, the people that we put and we're elected in, they are left with, do we compromise the integrity of our community with people that live here? Do we take the time and because we want to make money, do we take the time and listen to them? Or do we compromise in order to make an extra buck? So we're having that fight, that argument. And it came to Metro Atlanta, but it's spreading out to some of these other municipalities around Metro Atlanta. And based on their decisions is going to determine, based on their decisions, to me is going to determine the type of environment that city or that area in the next 20 years is going to determine that type of environment. It's going to determine it. And we see it. You see it with the pollution. It's going to determine.
From neighbors in DeKalb County making it clear they do not want a 1 million square foot data center to come to Ellenwood. Dozens of people packed the Wesley Chapel Library to learn more about the potential negative impacts.
So Ellenwood is on the east side of Atlanta. It is not in the city of Atlanta. It's considered DeKalb County. So if we look at it and we're looking at Atlanta, Ellenwood would be on this east side going out. You're away from the city. You're probably like about 30 minutes, 45 minutes away from the city, just depending on the time, the level of traffic. That's where Ellenwood is located.
Data center could bring into their communities. This comes 1 week before the Board of Commissioners is set to vote on an amendment that would establish land use regulations for data centers. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn has more.
When the people's rights are under attack, what do we do?
The fight against the Ellenwood data center is growing.
We do not want or need these data campuses in our community.
Jackie Malcolm has lived in South DeKalb for more than 3 decades, but says this isn't just about one district.
We are standing together as a whole.
Gina Mangum says Tuesday night's forum at Wesley Chapel Library is for a couple reasons. One being community education.
A lot of people don't even know what's coming, and it's really important that people understand the issue.
The issue being data centers.
The second thing is to stop large-scale data campuses in our community.
The Board of Commissioners is set to vote December 16th on a text amendment that would regulate land use by these data centers. The vote was deferred from the BOC's November 20th meeting as things got heated.
Please, let the people speak. Let the people speak.
These residents say they're not buying what the BOC is trying to sell the county.
We are going to end up with data campuses in our backyards. It's not good. It's bad for our health. It's bad for land use. It's bad for the environment. There's really no good thing about these.
So, and if you notice right here, let's go back to that real quick. Some of the points that's being quoted about these data centers, you got noise and light pollution, air quality concerns. To me, as a capitalist, I believe that you should be able to make good money without displacing people or destroying their property or just making it hard for them to live life. Okay? You shouldn't be making or destroying the earth to make a profit. I just don't believe that's necessary. But as we get more and more, as this gap between the rich and the poor tends to grow more and more, I think we're going to see more and more things like this, because these data centers also create jobs. And if a community is suffering, and it would benefit them to have a big business like this in their community, now you've probably created 800, 500, 800, 1,000 different jobs. So it's very important for us to realize that we want those jobs, but we don't want a community destroyed, drinking water destroyed, you know? And that's, I kind of feel like that's what's coming down the line. They're going state to state and they're doing this, man.
New developments tonight. Another Metro Atlanta County will now regulate data center construction. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I'm Wendy Corona. George Estevez is off. Now, it happened after months of debate. Coweta County commissioners passed an ordinance tonight in a room packed with residents. Channel 2's Courtney Francisco live now outside of the commission chambers. And Courtney, not everyone is pleased with this decision.
As some critics say, this ordinance doesn't do enough to protect them. And the meeting just up this elevator right here was packed. We could hear booing, clapping, and even threats to throw people out if they couldn't control their outbursts.
We have done that a number. Chairman.
Sounds of disappointment.
So this one is in Coweta County. Coweta County is south of Atlanta. So now you see we've got east of Atlanta, DeKalb County, Ellenwood having their issue with data centers. Then we've got south of Atlanta having their issues with data centers also. The land in Atlanta, if you're building, is a lot cheaper if you go further out the city. So when you're out of 285 and you're headed towards Ellenwood, Lithonia, going further out, that's headed towards like that. That's in that Stone Mountain area, okay? The land tends to be cheaper. The houses tend to be cheaper because you're further away from the city. Coweta County has always been a more cheaper place, but when you hear people talk about they're only coming to black communities, Coweta County is a very country, predominantly white community. I think the population of minorities or blacks in Coweta County is somewhere south of 20%, you know, what the racial demographic there. Hold on. Let me ask. What is the racial demographic for Coweta County, Georgia? What is the racial? I like Gemini. Look, we talking about this and I'm using it to actually find information. What is the racial split between in Coweta County, Georgia? What does the demographics look like? So it's not just affecting the inner city. It's not just affecting blacks. It's not just affecting poor communities that need to sell. Because Coweta County is what? White, 69 up to 69% white. Black and African American, 18 to 20%, approximately, you know, and then you've got under 8% Hispanic. So it's a predominantly country. When we talk about, you say the South is country, that's the country South right there. That's it.
It came from the crowd before Coweta County commissioners voted to approve a data center ordinance.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Commissioner Bill McKenzie was the only one to vote against the ordinance. It puts guidelines in place on data center noise, land, and water usage, as well as building design.
I think the ordinances are more than flexible. To be honest with you, I believe this is going to be an example for other jurisdictions.
But critics in red said it does not do enough to protect their health, water, electricity, and property values.
They're arrogant and they don't listen to the people.
Commissioners started designing a data center ordinance when a California-based tech company submitted an application to build a campus near Wagers Mill Road. Skin Edge represents the property owner.
The taxes that can be brought in from a data center project are huge.
Neighbors pointed out this land is a conservation zone.
I'm 80 years old, and I'm looking at selling my land in a couple years because I have to, because of my age, okay? And I'm afraid I'm going to lose property value.
Commissioners paused any construction until they agreed.
And that is going to affect property values. And I'm doing this because I know I can talk about a lot of different things, and I've got a bunch of things to talk about. But it's going to affect property values. So you have to be sensitive when you see this, even if you love technology like I do. I would still come in and vote against it. I'm not saying we don't need data centers. More or less, I'm saying we need to have it in the right place. There should be places for this. It shouldn't be up right next to someone's home where when they come out, all they see is the smoke or the loud noise from the data center.
More jobs may be on the way to one tri-state community. That is, if the residents there want them. One of the world's largest AI companies is aiming to build another data center. But as David Winter reports, there's resistance, including one man who is turning down millions to keep his land.
The beauty of the land just have
millions. He's turning down millions to keep this. You got to know at some point it can't be about just the money. And if he's turning down millions, I'm pretty sure he's well off too. So we can't really say, we're not talking about a poor guy. I'm pretty sure he's not a poor guy that doesn't have any money in his pocket. Because if he's getting offered $8 million, you got to consider property taxes that he pays every year on this. Got to consider that there's holding costs to it. Even though it looks beautiful, it's still holding costs to it.
Outside of Maysville, Kentucky is undeniable. Pristine creeks, rolling hills, fertile farmland. It's where Dr. Tim Grosser, about 30 years ago, bought 2 parcels of land, a total of 250 acres.
My grandson loves to come up here and hunt deer and turkeys, and it's just what we do.
So he's well off. He's a physician, a doctor, physician. Look, I'm messing up my word today. Whoa, we working through it today. But he's very well off. So he can do that. We get it. But it shouldn't even have to do with the money. The businesses, these data centers should understand that the same people that they're employing, they're also destroying.
Dr. Grosser has been farming the land with his son and hopes to keep it in his family for generations. But he's not the only one who wants to use the property.
For a project of this scale and magnitude, things change rapidly.
An engineering consultant for what we're told is one of the largest AI companies in the world answered questions last night at a planning commission meeting. The undisclosed company wants to buy Dr. Grosser's land and a lot more surrounding it in order to build a massive AI data center.
The data center developer is looking for about 2,000 acres outside of Maysville, including this land. The Grosser's property is just over that ridge, about 250 acres, but as you can see, there is plenty out here from which to choose.
But before the company can choose Mason County for its project, it needs landowners to sell the land. The market value for farmland here is about $7,500 an acre, which would make the Grosser's.
Now, you notice this is farmland. That's one of my issues too. When we talk about food supply and we talk about what potentially can happen with our food supply, because we have a big population, unlike China and some of these other places. China has a huge population, but they've got a lot of land and some places they can't grow. But we have so much stuff that we import from China and from other countries that we don't grow here. And the more you take farmland, agricultural land, and you use it to put data centers on, you truly limit the food supply down the line for people because there's less places to grow. Now, this is one county and one city, but imagine as more AI companies get into the play, into this back and forth, and they raise their hand to expand these companies. Now, what I've learned is some of these companies are really brand new. You don't have a track record of how they perform when it comes to environment, when it comes to money, when it comes to treating the people right. You don't. So it's hard to kind of gauge if you're doing business with someone that's good, a great company, they take care of the environment, but you got to believe to save a penny, to save a buck, capitalism is great, but you do have crony capitalism. And I'm down for good capitalism, bringing a service to the market, but I believe this can be done a whole lot better and a whole lot differently.
Land worth about $2 million. The company's first offer was twice that, $4 million. Then the offer doubled again, more than $8 million. Finally, the company asked Dr. Grosser to name his price.
So why don't you say 30 million, 50 million?
That money can't buy happiness.
It can buy a lot, though.
Well, it can't buy that.
Tyler McHugh is in charge of attracting economic development to the area.
Are you able to do this without the grocer's land?
It can be done. The scale of it might have to be changed.
And if that happens, Dr. Grosser's land may be left pristine, but it could also be butted up against a massive data center and be worth quite a bit less than $8 million. In Mason County, this is David Winter reporting.
The area.
And that's sad. The more they push in on it, the more something like that, it can change the value all around. So it's not just the value of the land.
More breaking news.
When you talk about what it is right now, you're talking about also the value of the land down the road. Down the road, that land, because they do end up building it, can turn out to be something way less valuable when he's ready to sell it. Where they're offering $800 for it, and it's probably worth what, $1.5 million. Once they build that thing, he'll be happy he gets $500,000 for it if he gets it, because they don't really need it anymore. And who's going to build in that area too? And how is it going to affect the cows if you're raising livestock? Don't know. But I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that. Definitely going to keep an eye on that. Yo, let's check this out. Let's go over to man, let's go to this. This one was funny. This is crazy. All right, so South Atlanta, man. Whew. I don't know about South Atlanta. I don't know about South Atlanta at all. South Atlanta has something really strange going on. You guys got a mayor out there that's crazy. Let me pull it up. Boom. Okay. Is this it? Yeah, I think
the mayor of South Fulton said
yeah. Okay, cool. So we got the mayor of South Fulton. When we get into electing these people into these political positions, they hold the reins to the money that we pay when we pay our taxes. If you think just because a person looks like you, that they're going to turn around and do right by you, I think that's wrong. And a lot of black people have been deceived by that for a long period of time. Always turning around and looking at the guy that looks like him and saying, oh, he looks like me, he's a brother, he's going to do right by me. But that's not true. Just because he's a brother doesn't mean he's going to do right by you. Doesn't mean it. Doesn't even mean he's qualified to run it. Sometimes y'all might need just a white dude running that shit. I'm telling y'all, sometimes y'all might.
Congratulations. Well done.
If he's qualified, why not just elect him? But South Fulton has had this thing about trying to be the blackest city in the country. The blackest city in Georgia. I think they carry that title. The blackest city. If you don't know what South Fulton is a piece of unincorporated Fulton County, which Atlanta sits in, that broke away and became its own municipality So it's not Atlanta. It's not College Park. It's not Union City. It's like its own municipality. It had to qualify to do that. And it sucks to be able to qualify to do that, to build a police department, to have a whole working infrastructure, and then you elect a clown into your office. Like a real clown. Because this guy's been in the news several times.
Whether he violated the law in a criminal trespassing case. Channel 2 investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln has more on the mayor's decision announced in court today. Ashley.
Yeah, Karen, we spoke with the mayor back in September, and then he told us he had all intentions to challenge this charge. That's why some say it was no surprise when he stated in court today that he plans to take this case to trial.
State of Georgia versus Khalid Kamal.
Tuesday morning, South Fulton Mayor Khalid Kamal told Fulton County prosecutors he rejected their offer. The DA's office offered Kamal 12 months of probation on a misdemeanor trespassing charge. Police arrested Kamal in 2023 for trespassing on private property. Prosecutors initially charged him with a felony, but later reduced it to a misdemeanor. Kamal maintains he was not trespassing and says he was viewing the property because he was interested in purchasing the vacant home.
See, he starts smelling himself. He becomes the mayor. He feels he can go anywhere, do anything, just walk up on your piece of property, take a look at it. Like, there's no for sale sign. Nothing in there says it's for sale. And you got a no trespassing sign already there too. You don't have an order from the county. This is not a raid. We don't have a warrant. It's nothing like that. You're just walking on their lane because you're a black mayor of that city. Oh no. And that's the arrogance. That's the arrogance. Because you're the black mayor of the biggest black city, or the most black city in Georgia, and they elected you in there. And you think, as a person that gets elected into a place, you would carry yourself with a little bit more of a standard, you know? You would carry yourself, you wouldn't be acting like a hood ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be acting all hood. Acting hood simply because they put you in the office. I think the problem we have is there's a big character issue with these people you put into these offices. And it's evident here. You can't sit back and make me feel or think it's something else that's completely different. It's the arrogance to say I can walk up on your land and take a look at your property and I might be interested in buying it. I'm not looking to sell it, bro. Oh no.
Called the counter at roughly 10 o'clock. Is there some reason why you were late?
My apologies. Tuesday, the judge reprimanded Kamal and his attorney for arriving more than 40 minutes late.
I'm not
Because he the mayor, he feel he can come 40 minutes late.
going to sign the bench warrant now because you are present.
Kamal and his attorney declined to comment after Tuesday's hearing. His trial date is set for February 17th. And Kamal did tell the judge he will not be late for any future court hearings related to this matter. Again, that trial date set for February 17th. If convicted, he could face up to a year in jail. Reporting live tonight in downtown, Ashley Lincoln, Channel 2.
You just became the mayor. All eyes are on you. And now you might be going away for a year because you're walking on somebody else's stuff. But I'm going to tell you the reason why they really after this Joker. I'm going to tell you the reason why they really after him. This could be something I think that even a homeowner, you can apologize to him, or you could say apologize to the landowner, say, you know, I apologize. I saw the land. I was just walking there. You don't get none of that. It's not like people don't walk on patches of land when you in such a rural area like that. Normally, they may have a trespassing sign and you, oh man, that's a trespassing sign. Let me get out. But it's the arrogance. Why don't y'all see the character of these people y'all put in the office? Like, you look at these people and it's not like he brings any value to the table. Now I can hear somebody saying, oh, Trump is arrogant too. Bro, Trump is arrogant, but Trump brings a lot of stuff to the table where he can freaking be arrogant. Like, honestly, I keep saying it and I've said it before. He's a triple threat. Business, entertainment, and politics now. Where you have some of these guys that are politicians, only ones that are business people. Very few people go from those spaces, which are completely different spaces, have some similarities in them, but to be able to navigate those areas, he's different. I can excuse some things with Trump, and I disagree with some things with Trump, but I voted for him and I'll vote for him again. But this clown, this is the reason, and I'm going to show you the reason why they're after his behind. Because it just didn't start just recently with that.
Tonight, the mayor of South Fulton defending his international travels funded by tax dollars.
Mayor Kobe, formerly known as Khalid Kamal, says he visited countries on 4 continents last year to promote South Fulton as an international hub for black business and did so within all local and federal expense guidelines. But some, including many of his own council members, are raising doubts about that, about whether that travel was appropriate. 11 Alive's Grace King joining us live from the newsroom. Grace, a lot of people have questions about this. You went through those spending records. What did you find?
A lot of plane tickets both purchased and refunded, making it difficult to track just how many trips Mayor Kobe actually went on. I showed up at City Hall today to ask him about his travels. What we got was a bit of a show. In South Fulton, Mayor Kobe showing off the music, map, and artwork that he chose to represent the city's future.
It's the job of a leader to go out ahead of the crowd and find a new path, right? And that's what
Why do we do this? This African Bombada looking ass. Why do we do this? Why? This clown takes a trip to Africa to come back and tell us about Africa and how he's going to, what turns the city of South Fulton into an African colony? An African colony. You got to go all the way to Africa to learn to do your job in America. This is the most backward shit I've ever seen. But we continuously do it and we support this false, broken narrative. And when you support these narratives, you let clowns like that in. You let them in. You gotta be joking me. See, this started this thing. They've had him under surveillance for a while. They've had him. They're looking at his clown behind using the city check, the city credit card in traveling. And then you pay it off. Then you travel. Joker, you don't even need to go nowhere. You need to learn you need to do your job in the city. Like, you need to. Where did he went there to get get support? He's trying to bring back investors into the city of South Fulton. That's what he's going for? You're trying to bring back investors from Africa for the city of South Fulton.
Done.
His new path leads directly to Africa.
We've been looking at how we can connect South Fulton businesses with an entire new universe of consumers.
Those relationships come with a cost. Transaction records show Kobe used his city-issued Visa card to book trips around the world.
Right,
How many times were you in Colombia?
So again, I went to Colombia 3 times last year.
Okay, Colombia 3 times, Paris twice.
That bull's a tax. He's a passport bro. That's what he going over there smashing, coming back, did it on the city's dime.
Rwanda and Ghana.
Oh, let's run this back. How many? Where else he's been to?
Paris twice, Rwanda and Ghana, and Toronto.
Yes, and those weren't in the same year. That was over 2 years.
The records we have suggest only one of those trips is from 2023. But Kobe wanted to talk about his new office space, not his spending.
See, the reason why he ain't gonna get off. The reason why they need to give him a year, the reason why they need to give him probation or give him something that kicks him out of that position as mayor is because he feels he's arrogant. He's arrogant. He doesn't care. He's not here to serve the people. He's here to be served by the people.
Congratulations. Well done.
I just want to let you know. He's here to be served by the people, yo. That joker was flying over using those credit cards. And you know he had booty calls in Colombia, Paris. These are places he wanted to see. He never traveled to those places prior to this. Never. It wasn't like he was traveling. He was a world traveler, and then all of a sudden he got elected into that position as the mayor of South Fulton, Georgia. No. That was not him. That guy has newfound wealth that he's using. He's extorting the government. And just like that mayor, Dalton County, these clowns come out the woodwork. And because we're so deficit in leadership, or we have this preconceived idea of what these leaders are supposed to be like, or we don't want to be led by a white man, or we want to keep it pro-black, or we don't want to be led by somebody that really qualifies for him, but they may not have the level of charismaticness. We want our mayors to be like our pulpit pep rally pastors instead of letting them be mayors. You don't have a strong politician. There's no politics at that level. It's a small behind city. It's just getting started. The only thing you should be politicking with is the trash companies that want to come down and you want to say, okay, we'll have you, we can't have you. That's the highest level of politics. If you want to meet some other black mayors, go to New Atlanta. Atlanta got a black mayor. He's right there. Instead of learning what a larger municipality has to offer and how you can now generate and increase the taxes in your look, see, I'm saying increase the tax. Increase what's coming in to the city, whether it's even tax dollars or whether we probably need to turn around and solicit larger companies that will offset those tax dollars. How do we bring in big business here and keep things like data service companies that want to build these data mills? How do we now give South Fulton a very unique look? You don't do that. Nigga go all the way over to Paris. He fly over to Colombia. I'm telling you like I'm telling you. If you go there, you're going to meet some Colombia girl. And she was the one that met him when he got off the plane. I'm telling you. Hey, papi, give me your check. Okay, give it over. Don't be in denial. Don't be stupid. This dude ain't bring nothing back. He stopped at the gas station and he picked up that African top. And he got a dude over from the West End to go ahead and beat the drum. I'm telling you.
So I really want to focus my interview on what is happening in the space.
Some city council members are also questioning the mayor's expenditures. What business does South Fulton have with Africa?
We have no business with Africa. And so when we saw...
No business at all. Look at her face. She got that face like, this darn gone. Rip his neck off. I should have won that position. And she probably would have been a better candidate and a better mayor. She probably would have been a better candidate and a better mayor. She probably would have been. Who knows? But she obviously sat still, and can answer some questions.
All the expenditures on the financial documents that were posted that's when we became, as a council, as a body, alarmed and concerned.
District 3's Helen Zenobia Willis says the city council is calling for a forensic audit of Kobe's spending and more oversight of international travel.
All of it may be great, and all of it may be good ideas, but the problem is he doesn't get to make those unilateral decisions.
Now again, Kobe says his travels are within his spending authority and will continue. He believes the council's actions are a scheme to remove him from office ahead of the mayoral election this year. The next council meeting is tomorrow at 7 p.m., where much of this is expected to come up.
All right, Grace King live in our newsroom. Thanks so much.
Man, if you guys in South Fulton reelect this dude into office, you know, you guys deserve what you get. If you put him back into office, you guys deserve all the crazy, erratic you get. You deserve all the shit you get. You deserve the out of control budgets. You deserve the high estimates for property taxes. You deserve also a decrease in property there that would have been very valuable. Now nobody want to freaking live there. Because who want that craziness? Who want it? This dude is just simply taking these trips, and he's taking these trips because he's got the ability to do it. Hey, y'all get what y'all get, man. Get what y'all get. Y'all get what you get. You get what you get. You know, get what you get. There's already been enough stress that's on the economy, and we see it in the real estate space. We already see it. We see it in real estate. We see it in the politicians in real estate. We politicians that are saying what they're saying that's affecting real estate, whether you're talking about Chicago, raising property taxes. It's all holistic. I keep saying this is not a one-show pony. This is not just one thing. You can't sit back and try to figure out where you're going to buy your house in Georgia and not consider the fact that you got a Looney Tune mayor traveling all over the globe, spending tax dollars, and has the full potential to bankrupt the city of South Fulton. It's a clown move. It's clown. That's what we call it. We call it clowns. We call it clowns. Let's go to this. Let's go over to... Man, I want to cover, okay, I'll go and I check out this Redfin one. Let's look at this Redfin.
For more on what this means for you, let's bring in Chief Economist at Redfin, Daryl Fairweather, also who wrote this article. Daryl, great to see you. As you know, right now, so many Americans say they are feeling the pinch when it comes to the economy. That also means when it comes to home ownership. What is bringing about this great American reset?
The housing market has been in a really tough spot since 2022. But what we're seeing now is that mortgage rates are coming down, and that means that buyers' budgets can go farther because their monthly mortgage payments will be lower. And if you were looking for a home in spring 2025 and looking again in spring 2026, you'll definitely feel that the housing market has improved. There are more homes for sale, that prices have only gone up a touch.
So let's run that back. They're predicting, and please keep in mind that real estate is always local. So when Redfin makes this big giant housing prediction, they're not talking about the city of Atlanta. They're not talking about the city of Ackworth. Ackworth may experience just a little bit of that. Ackworth may never even see it. And Ackworth in Atlanta is probably one of the fastest growing cities, and not just fastest growing, highest appreciating cities, even in a reset or what you would consider a recessionary market. So Ackworth may never experience that, but they're predicting overall mortgage rates will dip to a low of 6% in range. One factor, improved affordability. I challenge that because you can dip it down to 6%, but when you have massive job loss and you are entering a space now where you have to re-educate the people, with AI, with the shift that's taking place, even are on on the federal level, departments, whole organizations being gone, you know? I think they are being way too generous to think that this would actually make it affordable for people. Home buying affordability will improve as wages grow faster than prices. No. The thing that you have to keep in mind is every area is different. You may be living in the Appalachians and you're not going to see that. You could be living in Atlanta, okay? And you may say, hey, that means that wages will grow faster. No. The wages in Atlanta and living in Atlanta cannot keep up with the appreciation and the taxes on real estate now in that city. You can't. You can't. I've bought a house in Atlanta. I bought a house in Atlanta, was using it for Airbnb, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, this thing ran, I think, $399 for this house. Bungalow, rehab, redone. And I have it out there for Airbnb, doing Airbnb. And I will tell you right now, never, if you really consider doing Airbnb for a property, don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do any type of Airbnb. Airbnb, if they haven't, they will, if they have it in your city, they will eventually, it will soon come where they're going to get hit. They're getting hit in so many other cities right now. Even Atlanta has their whole little Airbnb play. When I discovered this, I said, you know what? I partnered with somebody. You run this and you put somebody in, I'm good, bro. You know, I got the mortgage, you run. Because at the end of the day, it made no sense. Atlanta's going to come in and they're going to put all these rules, and they already started doing it. I think I applied for the license and they said, well, you missed the paperwork. It's rejected. You can't apply for another year. I said, damn, what? A year? Because I missed a piece of paper? Stay away from that. Home sales will rise 3%. Home sales are always going to go up. You're always going to have, even because there are just some places that people just want to be at. The schools are good. They're better than the best in that county or in that area. And you're going to always have a tussle and a fight to get in there. West Cobb, for example, west of Atlanta, has one of the best school systems. There's always, you may find a house. It may be affordable, but it may not be the type of house that you like. You're going to have to put some elbow grease into it. You might have to do some renovations because the one that you may potentially like isn't available to you. Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to the real market. That's really what's happening.
Have only gone up a touch, and your incomes have probably gone up faster than home prices.
Okay, rents will rise as demand for apartments rise and supplies fall. Rents rise as demand for apartments rise. It all depends on where you're at. We got a lot of building going on when it comes to rental units, corporate rental units in Atlanta, in the Atlanta metro area. But the reality of it is a lot of those places, they still were sitting unoccupied for months upon months. They had to wait and see that the number that they were trying to get for those units, they couldn't get it, and started pulling back. And then they're competing also with people that can't necessarily sell their house, but they will offer it out on the market. So would you rather do a 1-bedroom, 1-bath in Atlanta for $2,800, or would you rather do a home that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, slightly outside of of 285, probably no more than 15, 20 minutes away from where you were before, for half that amount, or let's say 60% of that amount, $1,700, $1,800, or even $2,300 if you went at it. You still got more space than you would actually have with the townhouse, with that 1-bedroom unit. Dude, there's so much. Housing costs will reshape households with more roommates and fewer babies. That's already happening. We already got young people that can't afford to get a unit by themselves. They got to move back in. And you think about it, who's thinking about having a baby when you can't even make ends meet? Affordability crisis will unite policymakers across the party lines. We already do see that when we have Trump with Zoran Mandani in the White House, and the key word is affordability, and everybody's throwing it around. Yeah, it's reshaping. It is reshaping. They are coming together. Trump is saying, yeah, I'm going to do affordability too. And the Republicans know that. The libs already been playing that. The Democrats already been playing that. Yeah, I do expect to see some type of coming together concerning that. How will we truly have an effect or a change? I don't know. You tell me.
So that's all good news, although it's going to be an incremental improvement. It's the beginning of a change that we think will continue for the next several years.
All right, so what are you looking at as far as timeline, when this starts next year? And then, it's always hot and cold. Where do you believe the housing market will likely heat up? And then where do you think it could potentially cool down?
The markets that are going to heat up the most are markets that have historically been overlooked, like the Great Lakes region or upstate New York. That's where home prices are still low enough that you can find great deals, but there really aren't that many homes for sale there because there wasn't a building boom during the pandemic the way that there was in the South. In the South, there were lots of homes built in Texas and Florida, really all across the Sun Belt. And now there's more supply than there are buyers interested. So
And what they don't say is that we're going to have a foreclosure epidemic also, because when you start taking away income from houses, from homes, when people are getting laid off rapidly at this amount, Shopify and Amazon and some of these other companies are laying off these people. People got to pay for their mortgage. Unemployment runs out after a period of time. So what happens then? What happens then? See, you're going to have a flood of inventory that hits the market, and then you're going to have people that's looking for it that will balance it out, right? Supposedly, banks don't want to become foreclosure people. They don't want to hold assets. Is there truly enough buyers on the side to actually buy the foreclosures that are there and also the sitting resale inventory?
in the Sun Belt, that's where buyers will find the best deals, and that's where prices are falling the most and will continue to fall in 2026.
All right, so the median age for a first-time home buyer right now is 40 years old. That's an all-time high. Redfin, has predicted that household makeup is going to shift with more Gen Z and millennials living with their parents for longer, because of what costs are dictating. What obstacles do you see when it comes to housing affordability for first-time home buyers, for these younger families?
Yes, baby boomers have been the biggest winners of the housing market over the last 10 years. But moving forward, those baby boomers are going to be retiring, they're going to be downsizing, and younger generations are going to find more opportunities. And when younger generations team up with older generations, like have multi-generational living, grandparents living with parents, living with kids, they're going to find a lot of success. We're seeing more.
Yeah, so don't sell your house. And I heard another creator was talking about this. Don't sell your parents' house. Your parent passes away and you inherit the house, don't sell it. I truly believe that there was another stat that was out there. I think they said it was 40% of the United States actually own their house free and clear. I think they meant to say baby boomers because I couldn't see that as 40%, but they said that it was. Okay, we listened to the stats. But at the end of the day, there's a wealth transfer that's taking place from the baby boomers to their children or their great grandchildren. So we got a lot that's going to happen, and nobody quite knows how it's going to take place because not all baby boomers have someone to inherit their property or their assets. Okay. But the place that we're at, we do recognize that that's going to be a big shift, not just in the economy, but also in the market. They got to sell their stuff. They got to get rid of it, Keep it as a family home. Try to give it and keep it in your family home as a family home that's together because land, as you see with them trying to build data centers, them trying to buy land in order to build on a commercial side. I don't know if you're near a commercial space, if you are near it, but the value of land, I can see it going up more and more. More and more, especially residential land when there's less places where the population, I think the Gen Zers, right, I think they're way more than the millennials, if that's true, right, in number. So land and living is not going to be something that you can take for granted in the next 5 to 10 years at all, okay?
Intergenerational living housing units being developed, like additional dwelling units, duplexes, triplexes. So we think that's going to be an ongoing trend of Gen Z kind of figuring out how they can get into the housing market. And when they have some help or support from their parents, they're going to find even more success.
All right, I know, Daryl, that there are people watching this who are just saying, you know, a house right now is just not in the cards. So for people who can't afford to buy a home and will still be renting, kind of what's the outlook there?
In 2025, rents were pretty flat, which was a big relief for renters. If they couldn't find a home to buy, they could at least find a home to rent that wasn't going to be excessively expensive. But in 2026, because so many people did choose to rent and are continuing to rent, we think that prices are going to heat up in the rental market, that rents will increase about 2 to 3%, which unfortunately means that those renters are going to have less money left over to spend on other necessities. People who have been on the brink of thinking about buying a home are going to be more motivated to buy a home when they get those lease renewals that show that their rents are increasing.
All right, so we know that the Trump administration right now is really focusing in on affordability, as are Democrats. But are there other things you think that the Trump administration could be doing to kind of get the housing market moving at an even faster pace?
Well, we're seeing more bills proposed in Congress, like the Road to Housing bill. That is a bipartisan effort. What the administration could do on its own is to use the authority of HUD to really pressure local governments to densify, to increase the supply of housing, especially.
We're going to have one of the biggest housing shifts since 2008, but it's not going to come from these mortgages like it did in 2008. I keep saying it's going to come from AI. It's going to come from a shrinking corporate job market. You got to think of it like this. Large corporations are responsible for hiring, I think it was an insane amount, like 85% of the U.S. population works for some large corporation, whether you're talking about a healthcare, retail, logistics, tech, doesn't matter. A corporation that has 500 or more employees. So if these corporations slowly start to cut back on jobs and cut back on job positions and integrate AI into a lot of what they're doing, you got to realize that's going to affect the buying side when it says, do I buy a house or can I buy a house? They have to fix that issue in order to affect the affordability issue. Homes can be affordable, but it's a different type of affordability when you're getting, like I said before, foreclosures that you now that's now being put back on the market, and you got to turn around and find a buyer for, or they're finding buyers for. It's almost like it's like a rinse and repeat. Almost like, rinse and repeat, like a buy her, pay her spot. They take your car and turn around and sell it to someone else. Because they're looking for someone that can afford. They're not really solving the affordability issue. The affordability issue, I feel, starts with the income. You started with increasing income, increasing skills, the shift, and then now it dwindles into, oh, I can afford this or I can't afford that. You want to say, oh, people are saying, oh, well, the houses are too expensive. You just don't make enough to afford the houses. The house wouldn't be too expensive if you made the income to afford it. Now, Not everybody makes that. I don't make enough. That's true. That's why I said it goes back to income and skills. What skills do you have that helps you weather the storm even when the market is bad? Because the market, you don't make money in good markets in real estate. You make money in bad markets in real estate. That's when that's when you have market moves. So when you're sitting back waiting for the government to make it more affordable, don't wait for them. Go get your bag. Go increase your skill set. Go make your money moves. Go change your position in life. Go add in new skills like AI or content. No, don't do that. Content around real estate, making real estate doing real estate, doing content, all of that at the same time weighs a lot. Unless you really want to do that, or you have or if you got a passion for it, go do it. But you can't sit back and think that a house will become affordable enough for you to move in. Simply because there's an influx of houses that's on the market and they're talking about lowering the rates to 6%. Not a heck of a lot of reasons why not. So just be smart with this, man. Don't believe the affordability lie. I say go and increase your bag, man. And don't wait for this place to become affordable. Because you may just as well been waiting. You might be waiting for years upon years for something like that to happen. I can't sit back and wait for that. Now, one thing I did notice, and we're talking about AI, one thing I did notice is this ran across my screen the other day. And I want to talk about this real quick because I told a friend of mine at one time, I said, his son is an actor. And we were talking about how AI AI is going to affect actors. And we did slightly start to see it. I mean, we see it in the music business, right? I mean, you don't need to be signed to a record label now to be like dynamic. You can be good. You have access to all these distribution channels that are out here, and you can use AI to make your background music. You can use AI to do vocals. I mean, there are AI artists out right now, knowingly AI, and people pay to stream it and listen to it. So that's the same thing I feel when it comes to being an actor, with being a content creator, being someone that if you're acting on Broadway, you may not be Brad Pitt, but what Disney has done with OpenAI is going to make anyone able to be a Brad Pitt, anyone able to be an actor without acting school, anyone able now to create content or be involved in content that they only probably had to show up one day and do a 2-hour session. They got your voice, they got all your gestures, and you're right along your way. This is the future. The end game, one of the stopping points on this AI journey. Actors, we're talking about actors being broke. Actors will be broke. We will have more broke actors and probably less actors. We will have more broke rappers and broke entertainers and probably less entertainers, which is good in some ways because some of our stuff really just needs to be corrected. We don't need to have as much as we have right now. We don't need as many actors that we have. We don't need as many musicians that we have right now. Some people just need to be fired. No lie. They need to just be let go. They were either holding on too long or their time is done, or they really didn't have the skills to do it. But they kept a slot either because of their color, either because of who they knew, various different reasons. But I believe, and I'm not going to come off of this, that AI is going to change it big time. My son texted me. AI is going to change that big time because what Disney has proposed will make it, in my opinion, that likeness of David Chappelle, like how he signed his likeness in perpetuity. Yeah.
Fox Business Alert: Disney just opened its vault and handed a golden key to AI. That move is popping the stock. It's up 2%. The entertainment giant is making a $1 billion equity investment in OpenAI. It's a 3-year licensing deal, OpenAI's first major content partnership, and will allow users to make content on OpenAI's Sora video platform. And what's going to be on it? Well, it'll feature more than 200 of.
You see where I'm going with this, right? When Disney does a $1 billion deal over 3 years, allowing these characters to go into Sora and ChatGPT. Prior to this, if you did an image of Michael Jackson, did an image of Mike Tyson, any of these guys, you couldn't take it off of the Sora platform, or they would tell you that the rails, you're going against the community rails and guidelines. Now, we do got a bunch of other renegade platforms that'll do it, but Sora has one of the best effects. It flows one of the best. I think just the prompting and the way it's done, it changes the game. If you never downloaded Sora, go download Sora 2, play with it for a little bit. You see what I'm talking about, because even to create a video in Sora, you have to take your image, your face, and upload it, and Sora will in turn use that image and implant it in the videos that you choose, that you're doing. So what now? What stops us from doing that with actors in Hollywood? What stops you or me from turning around and being able to be featured in a movie because we spent 2 hours loading our details and information up at the nearest Hollywood station? This is what's happening. They're actually doing the very first image content digital deal, I would say. The very first image content digital deal that will affect us. And to me, when I say it affects us, it's the difference between you who fit the narrative. Let's say you're a mom and you work at home and they need to cast the moms for this spot, but you don't want to. I mean, you're a mom. You can tell them, use my image within these guidelines and these rails, and that's it. That will change how money's made off of AI. That's just another avenue to make money off of AI. Just another avenue.
Disney's copyrighted characters across its namesake Disney princesses, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars content. And there's no slowdown in sight when it comes to major companies adopting artificial intelligence in some way or another. Let's get to Madison.
I'm going to stop it right there because they go into another spill having to do with AI, which is really cool. But that point, so Disney jumped. Disney's been popping since then. One thing I would say, even when I dislike a lot of the stuff that Disney has done, man, and I'm not probably the most the lover of Disney. I don't love Disney. You know, I think Disney's, but that's a good behind deal. That's a really good deal. That's a really, really good deal. Really good deal. Man, what else I want to talk about? I got Redfin. I got the Disney deal. Man, I could go with churches that are closing because, boy. No, I'm gonna keep that one. Yeah. I gotta throw this in here. Actually, before I even do that, man, let's talk about this police chief over in DC. Let's talk about this real quick. Because I've seen people talk about it. I've seen the reviews on it. Let's talk about this. I'm going to tell you what I think about this, right, real quick.
And moments ago, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro here in Washington, D.C., responding to allegations that D.C. crime data was manipulated by the outgoing police chief, Pamela Smith. That claim coming from a new House Oversight Committee report. Our congressional correspondent Bill Malugin with the latest on Capitol Hill. Bill?
Well, John, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee say their investigation concluded that this outgoing D.C. police chief was trying to make the city seem a whole lot safer than it really was, and she was doing it by allegedly cooking the books on crime statistics. So the Republicans...
She's cooking the books. Surprise, surprise, the books are cooked everywhere, guys. Seattle, California, LA, out there, New York, Baltimore. All these major cities have been cooking the books, I would say probably Obama's time. We just saw a huge influx of it around COVID. See, you can't have riots that go crazy in 2020, people rioting. Remember the summer of love? And they just calmed down and went back into their houses and everything went back to being normal, right? Just calm down. They just calmed down and went back into their houses. The whip came out and they went back in and everything's peace and lovely. That is the lie. 2020 reshaped the face of Metro Atlanta. Some people we don't frequent Buckhead in some of these places that we used to frequent at the level we used to frequent them. It changed the face of places like Times Square, New York, Baltimore. That stuff didn't just go away. See, they have always been, I keep saying they lie, because if I can tell you that I'm making change in the city and I've got this political position, look, the numbers are down, reelect me. Look, the numbers are down. I'm doing a great job as the chief of police, as whoever. Nah, the mayor, I'm doing a great job. I'm bringing the numbers down. Y'all put them in the office.
On the committee say their investigation consisted of interviewing 7 different D.C. Metro police commanders who represent all of the patrol districts out here. That included a former commander who's currently suspended for allegedly tampering with crime stats in his own district. And these are some of the conclusions they've made in their report. Number 1, they allege that D.C. Metro Police Chief Pamela Smith pressured commanders to report lower crime stats by any means necessary. Commanders testified that Chief Smith pushed them to pursue lesser charges that aren't publicly reported, even for serious crimes, and she also required certain crimes to be reviewed by her office. In a statement on this report, House...
Wow. Testified that the chief pushed them to pursue lesser charges that aren't publicly reported. So that means somebody breaks into your house, commits a violent offense. We just call it loitering. It's insane, man. It's insane. All of this stuff rolls into your real estate. All this stuff rolls into our businesses that are in the area. All this is things like this is the reason why it's hard to get flagship companies to hold down a unit or building in these high crime areas. Because you're lying that there's no crime. And I know I look at crime statistics. If I used to do that working for a security company. I mean, I could pinpoint where I needed to go in order to sell them a system when I worked for corporate security. But at the same time, if you're looking for a house, don't you want to know that you are not in a high crime area? All of this has an effect. To be deceived and to think that this has nothing to do with real estate. There's no holistic approach. I've had clients not want to move to areas because of the crime. I've had clients sell in areas because of the crime. But if that information isn't out there, you can't really make a change in your municipality, in your city, on those blocks. You can't change anything with fake and fraudulent data because there's nothing to change now. We don't know where the issue is. We can't put the resources and the money in the places they need to be put. We can't do that because we don't know that it has an issue to begin with. And that's the issue. When you're lied to, it affects your pocketbook. It affects where you raise your family. it affects how you sell your home. It affects where data providers build too. Shoot, bro. They need to. I don't know how you can lie on these documents and not have some type of charge or and you walk away with a slap on the wrist. That's what's going to happen with her. She'll get a slap on the wrist.
Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer says in part, quote, Chief Pamela Smith coerced staff to report artificially low crime data and cultivated a culture of fear to achieve her agenda. Chief Smith's decision to mislead the public by manipulating crime stats is dangerous and undermines trust in both local leadership and law enforcement. Meanwhile, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser was asked to respond to the House Oversight Committee Republicans' findings earlier this morning. Take a listen.
I don't see any evidence of that. If the claim is, and I don't think anybody has demonstrated that the police chief directed anybody to change numbers. When the committee provides me their backup information, which they haven't, when the committee provided the report to the Washington Post before they provided it to us, highly unusual when you're talking about an audit of numbers.
And John, just moments ago, the U.S. Attorney here in D.C., Jeanine Pirro, responded to this report. She put out a statement on X, which essentially says that, yes, these crime stats were manipulated, and the manipulation of that data shows that President Trump has reduced crime here in D.C. a whole lot more than initially thought. She went on to say that what happened here with the crime stats does not rise to the level of any criminal charges or a crime, but that the D.C. Police Department has to change their practices moving forward.
I disagree with that, because when you sit back and you look at, if you're reporting a violent offense as not being a violent offense, what about the person that it was committed against? They should have some recourse, criminal recourse, something in order to hold the person who committed that violence offense accountable. We can't get that to happen when you report that it was just a mugging when it was a rape. When you report that it was just a purse snapping, somebody just grabbed her purse and ran, when she was either shot or stabbed. Somebody's a victim. Just like they try to say there was, somebody's a victim. Somebody's a victim. Somebody's a victim. Somebody's a victim. So it may not be a criminal. You like, well, we can't hold them criminal liability. Yes, they can. I'm sure somebody stood back and went through some type of traumatic issue, through some crime that happened, whether it's home invasion, and they reported it as a lesser offense. I would be pissed. I would be mad. I would be mad. How can I hold this person accountable and take them to court? How can I even have the police know that they will arrest them when the police is looking at that stabbing as being a minor offense? And you can't tell me it's no criminal issues. It doesn't affect anybody. That's a lie. It affects people. They just don't want to take responsibility for their actions. That's it. That's it. All right. Let me get off with those clowns, because we allow them to do those things they do. But one thing is true. This is for my people in Atlanta. Everybody acts like they don't work here. And when I leave, I'm about to go and ride around and stop out somewhere. And I always see nothing but a bunch of people in the streets in Atlanta. I thought it was just me. Not in the streets, but felt like this, But it's not just me. My message to everybody out here in the streets of Atlanta, look, times are changing. Y'all could do that a while ago. Y'all need to go get a job. Because if you come trying to mug or steal something from somebody or scam something from somebody, you going down, and you're going down hard now.
I am just so sick. Like, this city, nobody has a goddamn job. Nobody. I'm the only one that seems to go to work, and I don't even have a real job. I'm a bartender, and I still am like envious of everyone that's always outside just having a fucking blast. I'm out having lunch with my friends, and I'm like, I gotta go get ready for work. And they're like, well, have fun. we're going to buy pop 1942 bottles for the rest of the night. Like, God damn it. What do I have to do? I'm going to start an OnlyFans. We all subscribe because at this point, I'm tired.
Whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. You put that on TikTok, somebody go subscribe to that. You better watch it, girl. Better watch it. Better watch it. Somebody subscribe to her OnlyFans for me. I can't do that.
Another thing they say about Atlanta is that nobody got a job.
Nobody.
That's why the traffic is so bad at 12 p.m. I'd be like, y'all not working? Why are y'all in Home Goods with me right now? Go the fuck to work. Nobody got a real job here. No one's working a 9 to 5.
That's
Are
true.
out 24/7. I'll be like, damn, like that's why it's always packed because nobody want to work a regular job. I mean, I don't either.
Right.
So I mean, I'm just saying that.
Yep. Y'all don't work in Atlanta.
I just done pulled up to the outlet. Why is it so crowded? It is Tuesday afternoon. And it is, I mean, like every parking spot is filled. Why?
Back to cap. Nobody in Atlanta has a job.
Shit, cap, bro. Niggas be having motion out here, man. Like, everybody got their own hustle, man. I respect everybody in that got their own hustle.
Nobody in Atlanta has a job. Back to cap. Nobody in Atlanta has a job. Cap, what did you do? I'll say half and half. No, about 50-50. Yes. If you split down the middle. Okay. Nobody in Atlanta has a job.
Yeah. Y'all look like y'all be finessing this shit. I see little kids with water bottles for $30.
They look like they finessing it. They definitely ain't got one.
Back to cap. Nobody in Atlanta has a job.
Yeah. What do you do? I'm valet. I don't work.
Needs to study the unemployment in Atlanta. I don't think anybody has a job here. I haven't met one person with a real job in Atlanta since I've been here for the past like 3 months. Like, I'll be at the pool at 1 p.m. and there'll be a ton of other people there on a Tuesday. I'll be walking around on the street at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday and there's 1 million people. I'll be in the middle of nowhere in the woods on a hike and there'll be a ton of people there. Does nobody work here? Like, I don't work here. Like, I work for myself, so I get it. But, like, does nobody actually have a job here? Like, someone needs to study this.
Yeah, we still studying it. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of people in Atlanta don't have jobs. I don't know where the money comes from. I believe, I'm not even going to speculate. Yeah, but Atlanta is one of those weird places that it seems like everybody's rich. Nobody has a job. Weird as heck to me. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. Oh, check this out. I gotta run this story real quick. Okay. This is gonna be my last one, and I'm gonna leave out because I got some other stuff I gotta do. This is my last one. So they're saying that churches are closing at the highest record rate. To me, I sit back and say, dang, that's a lot of real estate that's sitting down there. Somebody needs to go buy it because they either bought it or they leased it out and we can use it for something. But churches are closing and I'm going to tell you what I think about this, but they're closing at a rapid rate.
I'm going to say this again. You're going to see a lot of churches begin to close because for 2 reasons. Number one, Jesus is closing those churches because he does not want them to be his representatives anymore. There's nothing worse than building a business and your employees mess it up because of their reputation. So you have that, and then there are some that he's closing down because he says, well, let me close you down. You can't handle the weight of what's coming. You are not allowed to win a war for the kingdom of God while setting down the weapons that they employed for you to use to win. And so the church, by and large, has set down dreams and visions. They don't believe in that. They don't believe in tongues. They don't believe in gifts of the Spirit. They don't believe in laying on the hands. What I did over the young lady just a moment ago, they scoff at that. They don't believe in demonology. They don't believe all of the stuff Jesus said we were supposed to do, they don't believe in.
So the stat is right now that there's a record amount of churches that are closing. And I was looking at a one clip. I think this was 700 Club. The record amount of churches that were actually closing down. And I'm going to pull this one up real quick and go through that. And it was interesting to me
Well, this could be the worst year on record for church closures right here in America. As many as 15,000. Wrap your head around that number. 15,000. Many of them in rural areas are shutting their doors. In North Carolina, though, one small church is bucking this trend with a story of redemption and revival.
So I'm not even going to do the whole thing. 15,000 churches. My opinion is they need to close. If God made them and put them there, I'm pretty sure he can sustain them. Okay. And if he can't, then it's only one or two things. God stopped sustaining people, or you were just never meant to be there to begin with. So when I look at this and I see churches that are closing, I just see a bunch of people that wanted to take advantage of nonprofits. Somebody that wanted to start a business and they liked the whole little church thing and they felt like they can orate. They were good orators. They probably gave a couple speeches in school and people say that they're fly and they cool. And yeah, you should be speaking in front of people. They probably did something that people thought was a miracle, or they thought it was very miraculous, or they had a dream, but it was really the church's chicken that they ate the night before and in their belly. Close these churches. These churches should close. They shouldn't be open. Because if God put it together, it'll stay. If he didn't put it there, it closes. And then you just move on. Using nonprofit status, collecting tithes from people in order to sustain it and making it mandatory, that's the reason why the churches are closing. Because the gospel, whatever they're preaching, I don't believe is probably the gospel at all. Because the real gospel will take care of you. It'll sustain you if you believe. Amen. But close them down. And you can do as many stories as you want. Trump, don't do any type of church incentive to like save churches. I need them all going. I need the ones that don't need to be here going. Don't take them all away, because the ones that are supposed to be here, they will be here and they will preach the gospel, and that gospel will change people's lives. And that's necessary. Less in this case is best. And last time I checked, when I read the book of Acts, hold on. Last time I checked, did he even have churches? I thought that he met at people's houses and just groups, and they talked about the word of God and Jesus and fellowship. Hey, you tell me your opinion. Am I crazy about it? With it? You let me know. Like, subscribe, follow for more content. I'll see you guys on the next video. You guys have a blessed day.